Welcome to another episode of the Read Pile. I've got these fat books of Avatar. I shot one video on these already. I unintentionally started at the end with book 5. That video has probably already gone up, but I have started at the beginning now. This is The Promise, Volume 1, and this is Volume 2, The Search. So in that other video, I mentioned that I enjoyed Avatar, watched Korra with my wife, and one of the questions I've had for a long time is what happened to Zuko's mom, which I knew just from general internet possible Googling, is that it was covered in the comics that take place after the end of the show. So I wanted to know more, right? And I grabbed these. I've been sitting on them for years. I'm finally reading them now, and they are spectacular. I'm loving it. It feels like a continuation of the show. Did I mention the creative team? It's the same creative team. These are creators of the show. Yang was the writer, and Gurihiru the artist for all 5 volumes. Same as before. They are reprinted comic size pages with space on the sides for annotations, which I think add a lot. I'm blocking one of the cameras. I think they add a lot. They are interesting, and it's sort of behind the scenes stuff as far as what went into creating this. But in The Promise, the big thing is there's a big storyline and sort of there's multiple subplots. But the big one is Zuko does not want to become his father. He doesn't want to turn evil like Ozai. We've got Ozai and Roku here in the background. There's a lot. There's a lot going on here. Which is one of the things I like so much about these is they are not... I was about to say they're not straightforward, which they're complex stories. They're layered. There's a lot happening in this. One of the big stories here is the Fire Nation had created colonies within the Earth Nation, and now that the war is over, they're trying to decide what to do with those. So Fire Lord Zuko, he wants to recall his people back to the Fire Nation. The Earth Nation also wants them to be removed, except they've been there for roughly 100 years. It's a multi-generational thing at this point, and they have lives. They have commingled. There's a family here that's mixed. It's a blended family. So she's Fire Nation, but an Earthbender, and that's, complex. What do you do with that? And the solution is not obvious, even though, well, maybe the solution is obvious, but nobody gets there right away. It turns to armies facing off against each other, and I don't know. It's good. It's great. It's as I said, it's layered, it's complex, and it's awesome. I loved it. Highly recommend it. The Promise, I should mention. This is Zula. Always great. So The Promise, I should mention, I started to say, Zuko doesn't want to become like his father. He requests Aang, makes Aang promise to kill him if he winds up turning evil. And Aang really struggles with that. He doesn't want to, but Zuko's his friend, and he reluctantly agrees. And then there's a question of whether or not he needs to fulfill that promise because of what Zuko is or is not doing. It's great, as I've said repeatedly. Also, there's a bunch of Toph in here. Toph and Sokka kind of team up to teach some metal benders in one of the subplots. Also fantastic. Always love Toph. So, this is Volume 1. Volume 2 is the actual search for Zuko's mom. And we can see here on the cover, we've got Azula. She's amazing. She's terrible. She's awful. But also just a phenomenal character. Love her. So there's a lot of history as far as the mother's story and what she was doing before Ozai, sort of after Ozai, after she got kicked out of the Fire Nation. This is a fantastic scene too once this happens in the book. But this is equally awesome. This leans a bit more on flashbacks to tell the story. Many references to the show, and this is one of, so far, the only one where I've seen comments from DiMartino. So there's even more behind the scenes stuff as far as what was intended within the show, within Aang's story, and some of the early core season stuff as far as spirits. This has spirits. There's a giant wolf at one point. I've been flipping through these. I think it should be obvious what the art is like, but I will comment that, once again, it's fantastic. It's very clean. It's well executed. It's, I think I said, an evolved version of the show. It's a bit more detailed. It's a bit more shaded. I love it. Huge fan of these. I am currently working on volume 3, and then I'll get to 4, and I'll shoot another video as soon as I'm done with those. I can't imagine I'm going to say anything bad, but these are great. I am loving it.